Now let's begin with update on the upcoming elections. Ahead of the September 21 Edo State off-cycle governorship election, the People's Democratic Party has withdrawn from signing the peace accord initiated by the National Peace Committee, led by its chairman and convener, Nigeria's former head of state, Abdulsalami Abubakar and Matthew Kuka, to guarantee the conducting of free, fair and credible elections across the 18 local government areas of the state. The party, who gave reasons for their withdrawal over the arrest of their members, accused the IGP of victimization.
A lot of our members have been arrested and kept in custody for upwards of 2-3 weeks. This is a murder to one of those of my members that is in police custody. Gentlemen of the press, if it were you as a political party, will you, in good conscience, sign that peace accord? That would be very dishonest, and it will not be paying a lot of respect to our people in custody and to the families they left behind. So we think, as a party, and I said this before, the PDP is a process party. We think through things. We took this hard decision just to make sure that the IGP, that is the most biased IGP in the annals of this country, restrains his step and know that Edo is not like any other state. It's not like any other state, and he has to be very careful with handling the affairs of Edo in the build-up to the 21st of September elections. As for us as a political party, we are more than ready for the elections. What we will not agree, what we will resist with all that we have, is that we will not allow an IGP, not from this state, to determine the results of this election. That is what we will never agree to.
Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, has reacted to the People's Democratic Party's refusal to sign the peace accord initiated by the National Peace Committee to guarantee the conducting of free, fair and credible elections across the 18 local government areas of the state. Shaibu, who spoke to newsmen shortly after the event in Benin City, Edo State capital, said their refusal was unpatriotic and undemocratic. While calling for a peaceful poll, he urged all eligible voters in the state to come out on Saturday next week to vote for their choice candidates.
It didn't come for me as a surprise. Withdrawing from signing was not a surprise because I'm aware that all their plans to cause mayhem and violence is already being curtailed. And such people will definitely not be part of any peace accord when they know that they want to perpetuate violence, and that violence have been curtailed. You see, when I hear the governor talking about constitution, I laugh, because this is a man that is lawless. This is a man that will not obey court judgment. This is a man that will not even obey the oath of office he took as governor. He said Nigeria will burn. That's against oath of office. So when I hear him talk about constitution, I laugh, because how can the Governor of Edo State be talking about constitution? Constitution that he has breached and breached and breached many times. A man that does not have respect for traditional institutions, a man does not have respect for Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that he has breached many times. He's not talking about constitution. I laugh. It's shocking that Obaseki knows Constitution of the Federal Republic. He should go and read the interpretation clause and go and read talk schedule of the Constitution, the oath of office that he took. He took an oath that he will protect the integrity of Nigeria and the sovereignty of Nigeria. And the same man went out to say Nigeria will burn. And his talk also repeated it in Ipoboha that Edo will burn. So you can see everything about them is burning Nigeria, burning Edo State, which is against the oath of office I took and he took. We took oath of office on the same podium. So when I see him talk about constitution, I say, Obaseki, he doesn't know constitution. But the good news is that those that know the constitution are ready to make sure that the constitution is obeyed to the latter. And those that will not obey constitution definitely will not sign peace accord.
And now our correspondent, Austin Azu, joins us for more updates. Austin, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Good evening, Zeno. Good evening.
Thank you very much. So, Austin, so we understand that the PDP declines to sign the peace accord initiated by the former military head of state, General Abdulsalami, and also Matthew Kuka. Since you were there at the signing ceremony, please could you give us an eyewitness account of exactly what led to this?
First and foremost, the PDP withdrawal did not come to so many people as a surprise because yesterday during the stakeholders meeting, there were kind of reactions to the issue that might likely before the next day. Those issues were raised before the IGP, which the IGP fully responded to, and subsequently when the chairman of the National Peace Committee visited the governor at Government House, the same issue were raised, and the governor responded as well. So the refusal seems to be like in accordance with what they have resolved to, submit today from on the peace accord table. But however, the reactions from the hall was kind of the major leading party in the state is pulling out of the peace accord. What does it mean for the electorate, and what does it imply, for the peace that everybody is looking forward to see before, during, and after the election? So many of these issues out from the hall, and of course, there was a time that the chairman wanted to respond, but however, journalists came around the chairman of the PDP, interviewing him to know why they stepped down. They did not sign the peace accord, and before they could return back to the stage. However, they were told that if they are ready to sign the peace accord, they should come to Abuja. That would be accommodated. So that's just what transpired so far. But however, when we came out from the hall, we saw some group of persons protesting against some issues relating to the upcoming elections in Edo State. Of course, you know quite well that Edo election has become a center of topic in the Nigerian politics. Everybody is talking about the ongoing exercise, the attacks on various politicians here and then. Seems not going there with a lot of persons. Of course, Nigerians are looking forward to see a peaceful election where everyone who is eligible to vote, over 2 million people enlisted on the voter list, will be able to come out on the day of the election to cast their vote without being intimidated or being disenfranchised.
All right, Austin, now the word peace there in the peace accord is a routine thing for every election mostly. In this case where the PDP is refusing to sign the peace accord, they're not telling that they want to go about causing mayhem, but what implications does it have on security during the elections, before the elections, and even after the elections if they refuse to sign?
I think the party will respond to that. Maybe when we'll have opportunity of getting across to them to speak more on the subsequent step in the likely take and the impact on the general election so far. But we'll try to ask the question, and of course, the chairman of the party, responded that they are not going to boycott the elections, and equally told journalists that they are confident of winning the election based on the fact that they believe that the governor of the state has done quite well to enable the party to return back to Shaibu House in Benin City. But however, it's left for the electorate to determine that if the governor has done well or not, or they are going to replace the party at the government house. But nevertheless, it seems the people of Edo State are quite ready for the elections on Saturday from the body language. So out of the 18 political parties, one of them just declined. So it means that the 17 other political parties are heading for the elections on Saturday. Obviously, winner must emerge.
Well, Austin, thank you very much. Appreciate that you're here this evening to give us details from the Ground Zero. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Now moving on to security matters. Airstrikes by the Nigerian Air Force aircrafts have killed 28 terrorists in the Basa community in Shiroro local government area of Niger State. The terrorists were killed on Wednesday, September 11, according to Deputy Director Information and Public Relations Group Captain Kabiru Ali in a statement on Thursday, September 12th. Ali said the terrorists were engaged after receipt of a request for air support from ground forces. According to Ali, the successful operation underscores the NAF's commitment to protecting the nation and supporting sister services and other security agencies in combating banditry, terrorism, insurgency, and all other forms of criminality. Earlier, security experts and Executive Director, Elixir Trust Foundation, Emmanuel Ikule, joined us to speak more on this. I've been informed that we'll bring that report subsequently, or rather that take subsequently. Moving on now, Nigeria Governors Forum, led by its chairman Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, alongside Lagos Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and Ondo Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, visited Borno State to extend their condolences and support following a devastating flood that has displaced thousands of families. News Central's Umar Kirawa reports that the delegation met with Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum and local officials to assess the damage and discuss immediate relief efforts.
Governor of Edo State, our brother, governors of Lagos State, Edo State, and distinguished senators, members of National Assembly here present. We're here today on behalf of the Nigerian Governors Forum to commiserate with the government and the people of Edo State over the Anao Dam Bridge. Also to commend Mr. President for the quick reaction by dispatching the Vice President, alongside him was NEMA and the Northeast Development Commission. On our part, the forum will do the needful to support our colleague. But from what we've seen in the media, it's truly a major disaster in which we would also love to see ourselves. We know the hardship and challenges that people will go through, and we know also that His Excellency is up to the task in making sure he brings succor to the people and turn things around immediately as soon as possible. We just pray for Allah's guidance in this process and wish.
Now, our correspondent Umar Kirawa joins us for more updates. Umar, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
A very good evening, Mazino.
Yeah. So, Umar, we've seen plenty of videos on social media about the visit, but please, if you can, tell us more about the visit of the members of the Governors Forum.
Well, the visit by the Governors Forum, led by its chairman, Abdulrazak, that's the governor of Kwara State, alongside his counterparts, the governor of Lagos State, Governor Sanwo-Olu, and that of Ondo State, is part of solidarity visit to sympathize with the governor, the government, and people of the state over the unfortunate incident that happened, talking about the flood disaster that led to the displacement of thousands of individuals and a lot of houses destroyed, infrastructure, and so on and so forth, which has even led to the death of some individuals that the government or the authorities is yet to give statistics of the number of persons that died due to the flood disaster. The governors went around some accessible location within the metropolis to see for themselves the magnitude of the destruction while rescue operations are still ongoing. It's good to note that even some neighboring communities, neighboring states, talking about Yobe State Emergency Management Agency, the team were here. They were helping the government in rescue operations, and other officials, including the military and other armed forces, helping in the rescue operations. This is what is ongoing. But by and large, the governors made passionate appeal to their colleagues to start donating funds or aid to support the victims of the flood disaster in Borno. The governor of Adamawa State, Ahmadu Fintri, donated 50 million naira. And in addition to Mukhtar Betra Aliyu, the member House of Representatives of Borno, he pronounced 100 million naira among others. So, but natural, the incident people are going through very difficult time, and there are a lot of people that are still not accounted for, missing families and so on and so forth. The emotions, the pain is very deep it runs deep in the blood of the people. You can see how painful people are, and they are going through very difficult time. Although the government is providing food and some other relief materials to the people, but much really need to be done, particularly talking about international partners and other well-meaning individuals across the globe to support the people.
Okay, Umaru, let's talk about the victims now. How are they recouping from this disaster, and what relief efforts has come their way momentarily, currently, and what has been promised by the Governors Forum?
Well, the Governors Forum, like I've said earlier, made an appeal to their colleagues to start donating funds or aid to the victims of the flood disaster. Modifintry of Adamawa State, like I've said, has donated 50 million naira, in addition to other personalities that have started donating funds to support the victims. But by and large, these victims need urgent support, urgent help from Nigerians and others across the globe, so as to pick up the pieces of their lives as the water gradually recedes, so as to help them to actually regain the pain, the losses, and so on and so forth.
Well, Omar, thank you very much for giving us the update this evening.
Thank you.
Now, Nigeria's National Emergency Management Agency says that about 259 persons have lost their lives due to floods recorded across the country. NEMA, during an emergency coordination meeting with emergency response stakeholders in Abuja, says that over 1 million have been affected by the floods, which has currently affected 29 states in the country. The Director General of NEMA called for a coordinated approach in mitigating the effects of the floods, which has caused untold hardship to those affected.
The current trend of flooding indicates that 29 states and 172 local government areas have been impacted so far, affecting almost 1,048,312 people. It has also displaced over 600,000 and has led to death of about 259 people. This unfortunate and almost unexpected incident requires coordinated response, hence this meeting again.
And time for a break now. When we return, the news continues. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, amid ongoing pricing and supply crisis in the downstream sector of the Nigerian oil industry, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has tasked the federal government to prioritize building and accelerating a social safety net that protects vulnerable citizens. Resident representatives of the IMF in Nigeria, Dr. Christian Ibeke, made this known in Abuja. Ibeke also hinted that petrol is still selling below market price, indicating the possibility of a further upward price movement. Recall that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has also taken a similar position. The IMF executive expressed worry that Nigerians are going through significant hardship due to policies being implemented by the present federal government. Now, to discuss this, we're joined by economic analyst Olusegun Okunade. You're welcome, Sheson. Good to have you here.
Yeah, good evening, Mazino, and good evening to all our viewers across the globe. Glad to be here this evening.
Thank you very much. So, first question, how can the federal government design and administer targeted subsidies to ensure they reach the most vulnerable populations without creating inefficiencies?
Thank you very much. I read some of the reactions of the representative of IMF in Nigeria, and the bottom line I can just feel as regard that is our government needs transparency in some of the things that it's doing. Of a fact, if you ask me, we keep hearing that we are not paying the actual money. When this administration came in, we were told that subsidy is gone, and we moved the price of fuel from 187 initially to 470 before we moved to 568, and that we could not even sustain for as long as we could. Not too long, we started seeing the fluctuation and non-availability of that particular product within the range. I think the first call is for us to have understanding whether it's produced locally or is being imported, what is the actual cost of this product. The last I heard of was the Minister of State for oil came out to say the landing cost of that particular product is about 1,112. And when we saw the increase with the production from Dangote, we saw it move from 500 to about 855. And we asked, why are we still, who is augmenting the remaining cost from the landing cost that was say? I think the first thing we need to do to make the system to work is to be transparent, to have understanding of what the cost of this product is, whether locally or the one we are bringing internationally, and let's for once do that. Secondly, can we start thinking of how we can produce this thing locally? We have said even if people are paying more for this particular product as we speak, but we are refining it locally because of other byproduct that was input to other things. You can create employment, you can create and develop other arm of the economy, agriculture with the fertilizer that you get from the produce that you have from the crude oil, bitumen to make sure that your roads are there. All of these are not being accounted for from a product that we are getting. We still buy some of those things. By the time you accumulate some of those costs, it's actually impacting on an average citizen. Now, that IMF is actually talking about, you ask yourself, how much of it, up to we're still yet to hear anything about the Ministry of Humanitarian. Most funds that were actually misappropriated, that has gone below the, you see, until we have consequential management to punish individuals that circumvent the system, we go nowhere. If government plan all this social stuff for the vulnerables today, a lot of diversions will happen, and most of the people that perpetrate this are not being dealt with, and that's why we feel that having a system that is transparent and work through for everyone to see how it works will make life more bearable for an average citizen and the most vulnerable that we can talk of.
I want to pick on something you said just moments ago. You said that it all doesn't add up. You said that the informed public also notes that it doesn't add up. If that happens, or if that seems to be the case, then we might be looking at an upward review of prices still. Now, if that happens, what type of social safety net programs could be available, whether in terms of cash transfers or vouchers? What kind of programs could be available to be employed to mitigate the impact of the rising price in petrol?
Dashan, if you ask me, sorry, Mazino, if you ask me, the truth of it is whichever social contract we want to plan, whether cash transfer or the likes, cannot salvage the problem if we don't look for a way to actually augment, transportation and logistics. It plays a major role in an economy of ours, where people move from one place to the other to make sure that activities are carried on. So, and not only in terms of movement, we look at other areas where some of these products are being made use of. In terms of energy, our power generation, what are we actually having? You discover that majority of the consumption that we have in terms of petroleum also go to power, not just only to fuel the vehicle. Can we start working intentionally to see that other arms of government in making sure that we have availability of power supply to reduce what is actually being consumed on alternative power supply will also assist us? You see, this idea of saying cash transfer will not work as far as I'm concerned. We should start thinking of how we can build infrastructure for individuals to rise, infrastructure for businesses to succeed, and to actually grow. As we speak, it's becoming highly impossible for businesses to succeed. Not too long we heard that the telcos are already planning hike in the tariff. What is the major yardstick behind it? Because the cost of actually running a base station keeps increasing because of the increase in energy costs. So government needs to look for a way to augment this. We have heard of the plan of energy buses. How much of it have we seen made available even to us? We have even said, if you intend to make average individual to carry on this, how many of it has the government themselves, shown by example in converting and coming to say, even when we carry out our own financials, when we started using CNG, it is enough of savings that we have actually had. We've not seen that come on the part of the government.
Now,
it's not about just giving out money, but making sure that we have infrastructure that can make business to grow, and have the fiscal policy that can enhance business growth.
Okay, let's talk about these rising prices. If these prices continue to rise, it's going to affect the poor and the rich very disproportionately. The rich might not suffer it as much as those who are low-income earners. What can the federal government do to manage these inflationary pressures, especially for the poor?
Yeah, I think part of the things they are trying to do with the fiscal policy by the special tax was set up is to see how they can get more taxes from the HNI, the high network individuals that we have in the country, and see how they can use that to augment. But I still have so much challenges about that because the level at which we account for some of this money is really not a seat that anybody can have confidence in. People still shortchange the government, most especially those high network, in what they remit to the government. A system that tracks the activities of what the high network is doing, and you're able to get more taxes to salvage the situation for the vulnerable and the less those are the lower cadre. I think we'll be able to make things more meaningful. It's taken from the high network that are actually available to sustain those that are the lower cadre of the ladder.
Well, Olusegun, thank you very much for giving us your in-depth view on the matter. We appreciate this.
Thank you very much for having me this evening.
You're welcome. Now moving on, away from that, a group of pensioners on the Ages of Abia Pensioners Forum have urged Governor Alex Otti to pay their gratuities and pension arrears purportedly written off by the government. Spokesperson and coordinator of the forum, Chukwuemeka Okezie, at a press briefing said it was wrong for the government to enter into a memorandum of agreement with pensioners at a time they were most vulnerable. He accused the leadership of Nigeria Union of Pensioners in the state of compromise, saying it couldn't have negotiated their gratuity and pensions, which he said are personal. The forum therefore called on Governor Otti to rescind the memorandum of agreement and begin payment of the arrears in installments. In a quick response, Commissioner for Information in the state, Oke Kanu, said the pensioners ought to have channeled their complaints to the appropriate quarters.
On assumption of office, His Excellency started paying half pension. Even after the verification exercise of pensioners, this practice continued. Pensioners therefore started wondering how someone who promised to clear the arrears of pension could start piling up his own arrears. That was the first red flag to pensioners. Regrettably, the anticlimax of our expectation came in March 2024, when we started receiving alerts for the purported arrears of pension. Lo and behold, it became a case of total disappointment for most pensioners, especially those whose arrears ran up to 40, 50, or 60 months or more. It was totally unfathomable how the state government arrived at the figures it paid to each pensioner as arrears. It was a situation whereby the more one expected, the lesser he got. How does one explain a situation where those who retired on the same grade level got amounts diametrically different? Indeed, what most pensioners got was exactly the arrears accumulated by the present administration from the time he started paying half monthly pension.
I hope this is not a dissident group within the Abia pensioners, okay, that's going to go and meet, and they are talking of trying. In fact, it sounds as if they are trying to blackmail government. And it's very unfortunate to hear this, because they have channels to reach out to those who are responsible for issues concerning their welfare in government. So this group of people, I'm surprised to hear them talk about government not keeping to the terms of agreement that government have with pensioners, when ordinarily another group of pensioners are singing the praises of the governor and the government he leads, to the effect that this, the pensioners have been paid their arrears, and since April they've been receiving their full monthly salaries, emoluments.
Culture, for some Nigerians, remains a vague idea. With the growing modernization of cultural practices, the few who imbibe it in their lives and jobs are at the forefront of portraying the country's vibrant creative industries. To foster creativity and cultural expression, creatives and stakeholders can call for better funding and infrastructure for creative professionals. News Central's Chidinma Ona shares more in this report.
The Nigerian creative industry has posed a formidable competitor in the global creative scene. Recently, the Nollywood industry became the second largest film industry in the world, sitting right between Bollywood and Hollywood. With more than 1,000 movies released yearly, it signifies the surplus potential in the industry. To properly harness these potentials, stakeholders call for collaboration and support.
Nigerian music already tears everything apart across the globe. Anywhere in the world, we have been selling O2 Arena. Everywhere, Nigerian music has pierced through. Now, it is not just enough to pierce through. It's more important to coordinate and ensure that this opportunity can generate income for the country, which is what everybody is now trying to do. Nigeria is broke. There's no hard and fast rule about it. But Nigeria is full of potentials. Potentials in themselves don't turn into opportunity. You need to convert it.
Everything that's happened in the creative sector has happened organically without government support. So if we now have government support and it's genuine, and we can actually really put plans in place, you won't believe where we are going to go. Our music is all about the world. Our movie industry is number 2 in the world without government support. I mean, with government support, if you now have government support, it's just going to be unbelievable.
It's extremely high level. The fact of the matter is, it is simply the understanding that the highest opportunity we have as a people is to back ourselves. When you back Nigerian soft power, you're backing Nigerians. Right? What you're saying and what you're understanding, that the most valuable thing we bring to the world is our IP. The expression and the creations of Nigerians is more valuable than the solid minerals and every other thing in this land.
Over time, the major export from Nigeria has been talents in the entertainment, cultural, and art industries. Nigerians are becoming more expressive in their artistic abilities, showcasing vast talents. However, there is a worry of losing cultural value when promoting diversity on a global stage.
So it's important that we look at the things that are, indigenous to us. Again, we've seen that what makes Afrobeats, as I say, pop or blow, is the fact that we can use our own themes, our own languages, our own storytelling to convey thoughts that it's music. People will gravitate towards it anyhow. So it's important that we stay rooted in those things as are ours. It's important that we can be selective, with the global influences. It's not every collaboration that we do. It's not every music style that we adopt. Yes, we can experiment, but
visible efforts from the government and private sector to support Nigerian creative industries will be a strategic move to ensure that Nigeria remains a vital player in the global cultural landscape. In Lagos for News Central, Chidinma Ona.
The U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills, and Nigeria's Minister of Arts, Culture and the Creative Economy, Hannatu Musa Musawa, are both excited about the possibilities that lay ahead for Nigeria's youthful population with the use of artificial intelligence, AI. They both made this statement at the Global Inclusivity and AI Africa Conference in Lagos, where stakeholders gathered to discuss the possibilities and challenges of using AI in the creative sector. News Central's Bernard Akede has more.
Artificial intelligence has come to stay. The sooner we embrace it and make good use of it, the better for us all.
The best way is for us to show.
This was the crux of the discussion at the Global Inclusivity and AI Africa Conference in Lagos. Over 300 stakeholders, including senior officials from the United States and across Africa, private sector executives, civil society members, and people from the academia all gathered to discuss how the Nigerian youth can use the power of AI to their advantage in the creative sector. In the past few years, there have been conversations surrounding harnessing the power of AI in Africa, with Nigeria being the focal point of the conversations.
It is a bit of a surprise because I said you've got a very creative tech industry here, a bright young population that understands technology and wants to move forward. I think part of it is just bringing to the world's attention what's available here and the talent that's here. And that's what this conference was intended to do, to make sure the rest of the world knew what Lagos can offer.
However, with the optimism of AI also comes skepticisms from naysayers who believe AI will replace humans and lead to mass unemployment. This was addressed by the Honorable Minister of Arts, Culture and the Creative Economy, who believes that the positives far outweigh the negatives.
I think rather than even seeing it that way, I think AI can actually enhance growth and job creation and the expansion, all the different expansion, the different initiatives that we're looking to do. I'm really interested and really excited to see, the joining and the partnership, the collaboration between technology, innovation, creativity, culture, to see how we can really sort of open up the envelope in how we really tap different ways of expression. So I think AI, rather than taking away jobs, I think we can find a way that it will enhance growth within the sector.
According to the minister, the achievements of Nigeria's youthful population in the creative sector has caught the attention of the rest of the world. She believes with the right use of AI and support from the likes of the US government, the possibilities are limitless. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
And you're welcome back. The news continues in East Africa, where Tanzania's main opposition party, Chadema, has threatened to stage mass protests over alleged killings and abductions of its members. The party announced late Wednesday that it would march in the streets of Dar es Salaam on September 23rd unless authorities investigate recent disappearances and return their missing members, whether alive or dead. The threat comes amid concerns that Tanzania's democratic progress is under threat despite initial hopes for greater freedoms under President Samia Suluhu Hassan. Since taking office in 2021, she has eased restrictions on opposition and media compared to her authoritarian predecessor, John Magufuli. However, recent crackdowns, including last month's mass detention of Chadema members at a rally, have raised alarm among rights groups. And in more news, police in South Africa report that unknown gunmen have shot dead 7 members of the same family, including 3 children, in an execution-style killing at their home in rural KwaZulu-Natal province. Among the victims was a 5-year-old boy. The tragic incident occurred late Wednesday when gunmen stormed the homestead as the family was watching television. The attackers forced a family member who was outside the house to knock on the door, opening fire once it was answered. South Africa continues to struggle with high levels of violent crimes, with one of the highest peacetime per capita homicide rates globally. Recent police statistics revealed nearly 6,200 people were murdered in the country between April and June this year. Welcome back. Now, condemnation is growing after a deadly Israeli strike on a school-turned-shelter in central Gaza, as Israel defended the attack, claiming the complex had become a headquarters for militants. The site, formerly known as Al-Jaouni School, was home to about 12,000 displaced people, mostly women and children, according to the United Nations, which operated the facility. The school has been struck 5 times since the war began last October, Israel reported. Palestinian authorities confirmed that Wednesday's strike killed 18 Gazans, including 6 UN employees, amongst them the shelter's manager. This marks the highest number of UN staff killed in a single strike in Gaza since the start of the conflict.
When a school is no longer a school and becomes a Hamas command and control center used by Hamas terrorists to plan and execute terrorist attacks against our troops and against our people here in the state of Israel, then it becomes a legitimate target. A school being used for terror purposes, according to humanitarian law, according to the Geneva Convention, is a school no more.
And now sports. The Nigeria Football Federation has announced the registration guidelines for the 2025 President Federation Cup. The announcement was made known in a letter by the NFF Director of Competitions, Ruth David, addressed to all football association secretaries. According to the NFF, clubs registration will commence on the 2nd of October to 1st of November 2024, while the online registration will run from 13th to 30th November 2024. Also, the 2025 President Federation Cup states preliminaries and finals will commence on 20th January to 22nd and 23rd February 2024. Now, Aima Football Club coach Yema Olariwaju says his team will fight for victory in their upcoming CAF Confederations Cup first leg second preliminary round clash against Etoile Fidlante of Burkina Faso. Speaking ahead of the match, Olariwaju emphasized the team's determination to secure a win and progress further into the competition. The People's Elephants drew by in the first round and will begin their campaign on Friday, 13th, 2024. The two-time Africa Cup nations won their first league game of the season 3-1 against Heartland Football Club away from home. This will be Yema's first continental game as head coach after signing a 1-year contract with the Aba-based side. The game is billed for the La Stade Mamadou Kanouté Bamako at 5 p.m. local time.
Yeah, we don't really have much information about them, you know, but they're not the most have been following us. But this is Aima FC. I know what the club represents and what it stands for, which is when you don't win yesterday and you are celebrating, and you forget you have to win the next game. And this is the attitude and the culture of the club, and letting this world to know that it is not a club you end a fought and you're happy or you win one match, you are carried away. You must win always. So we go there and fight to represent the club and hope for a better result and good results.
And that's all this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. The People's Democratic Party has refused to sign peace accord ahead of Edo governorship elections. And Nigerian military airstrikes have killed 28 terrorists in Niger State. We also told you that Tanzania's opposition party has demanded justice for missing members. Remember to send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screen right now. And follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Evo TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino. Appeal.